The meeting is called to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Board Member Amy Dotson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Dotson. And there is nothing like hearing students and educators say the Pledge of Allegiance. Isn't that the truth? Oh, wonderful. Roll call, Mrs. Vaughn.
Chairman, we're missing Teresa Lawson this evening.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So move.
Motion by Amy Dotson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Andy Witt. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Mrs. Vaughn?
That's all in favor, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Special items. Do we have any individuals to address the board on an agenda item? Seeing there's no one, we're going to move on to our very special night. Clyde Smith Jr. served on the Tullahoma City Schools Board of Education for 20 years. His time on the board including served as chairman of the board and as president of the Tennessee School Board Association. Clyde Smith Jr. made a difference in countless lives through his service on the board. That is exactly why this award was created in 2012 after his passing in 2010. To date, 22 other difference makers have received this award. From school secretaries to teachers to administrators, these 22 individuals have impacted thousands of lives through their service in education. Tonight, we are super excited to celebrate yet another incredible educator who will be this year's Clyde Smith Jr. Leadership Award recipient, Rima Bell. You can just have a seat in your throne. We're gonna let you. That's your turn is going to come, and we're going to hear from Board Member Amy Dotson.
Okay, those of you that know me know that I'm going to try to stay to a script, but you know that's not going to happen. But just to start off, when I look around this room, this is what Tullahoma City Schools is about. I'm seeing people that I taught with, parents of children, of people that I grew up with, students that my children are friends with. I said, this is what Tullahoma is all about. And I could not think of a more important and special person than Rima Bell to get this. So I hope I do her justice in everything I can say. Miss Rima Bell, where do I even start? I think I'll start with what most people know about Rima Bell. After 28 years of teaching, Rima retired from teaching in 2012. She spent time teaching in Lynchburg before becoming a B in 1984. She spent most of her teaching career teaching first grade students at Bel Air Elementary School. She was twice named Tullahoma City Schools Teacher of the Year. She received the award in 2006 and again in 2013, where she also received the district level Teacher of the Year in her final year of teaching. I could go on and on about Miss Bell, but what you may read about in an article and what I want to share about Miss Rima Bell is what most of you may not know unless you've had the privilege to be one of her students, to be a parent of one of her students, or to be a colleague of Miss Bell. Miss Bell loved to give a child a book for the first time and see the look on their eyes when they could read their first book for the first time and know that they could do it. She's even quoted as saying, "Seeing the sparkle in a child's eye when you hand them their first official reading book is a moment to me that makes all the hard work extremely worthwhile." Those that have seen her firsthand teaching know this is exactly what she lived for as a teacher. First grade isn't an easy grade to teach, but Miss Rima loved a first grade enthusiasm. She said, "Those first graders keep me young at heart and maybe sometimes old in body," which I'm starting to feel now. Once a student spent time in Miss Rima's class, they became a little part of her heart and so much more. Besides her smile, playing the piano for our annual Christmas sing-alongs in our gym every year, her ability to go with the flow, even though some days we didn't even know what direction we were paddling or why we were even paddling at all. She continued to teach every day with love, compassion, and had the uncanny ability to always see the potential in every child. I know for a fact I had some of my children with special needs in her classroom. She never batted an eye. Bring them in, they're going to be successful. That child is going to learn to read, no matter what level they were. And that, to me, as an educator, was so inspiring. As her Bel Air Bees left and went on to middle school, she often sent them off with a little note to always remember their time as a Bel Air Bee. The one thing I'm not sure that if anyone else knows in our district, and I'm not sure if it's ever even been done by anybody else, but every single year at graduation, Miss Bell did something special for her former students. I didn't know some of this stuff until I had researched a little bit more. Her first class of first graders, when they first graduated, she gave them all laundry bags with a roll of quarters so they could do laundry when they went off. That continued on for a while, but obviously that probably became very time-consuming and a little bit costly. So then she came up with other ideas. She would save, now guys, anybody that's a teacher or has been around a teacher or a mom, she would save artwork. She would save writing samples. Who has the place in their house to save that and keep it organized? But Miss Bell could. She would keep them at graduation. She would go up to those children at graduation, and I didn't realize this until Mr. Welch had told me also. Sometimes right after a surgery, she was not going to miss it. She was there. She would give them notes of encouragement. She would give them pieces of their artwork that they drew in first grade, things that they wrote about in first grade. And I think my favorite when I was there was she would have them write what I want to be when I grow up. And she would give those kids, I'm going to try not to cry. She would give those kids that letter because she believed in them, no matter what their path, even though probably then they wanted to be an astronaut. Maybe they still are an astronaut, I don't know. But she wanted them to know that she believed in them no matter what. It went on beyond graduation. These children and these students felt such a connection with Miss Bell. They constantly keep in touch with her. She's invited to weddings, baby showers. She gets high school graduation invitations because she wasn't just a teacher. And I'm telling you, in today's teaching world, if we had more teachers like Miss Bell that took the time to make every one of those kids feel important and loved and that they mattered and that they could succeed no matter what their dreams were, we may not be where we are as a society today. And as a teacher, you know, what I remember thinking when I saw that she retired after 28 years, I thought, well, that's a long time. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this is my 21st year teaching. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do it like Miss Bell. But she is such an encouragement. And I wish that we had younger teachers that could have had the privilege to work with her, and not just Miss Bell, but this group of teachers right here. This group of Bel Air educators were a group that I've never experienced in my life. They were family. They were not just colleagues. And they still show that by going on their mountain getaways twice a year. I mean, what companies do you know that do that after all these years? They're there for each other's, you know, good times and bad times. When they have births of grandchildren or deaths in their family, they are the first ones there. And I just couldn't imagine being a close-knit group like that. But I want to encourage for anybody here, or if you're watching, if you're a teacher, if you could strive to be anybody, strive to be someone like Miss Bell, because she's made a difference in people's lives that she probably doesn't even know yet and may not ever know, but she planted a seed, and those people always remember her, which is probably why a lot of you all are still here today, because maybe you had her as a teacher. But it is my honor to represent and to congratulate Miss Bell on this much-deserved award.
And now we're going to have a letter from Gigi Robinson.
I have a letter to read, and this is from Carrie Steele Williams, and she emailed this letter and wanted it to be read to you. So I have the privilege of reading this letter to you. And it said, it is with my deepest dismay that I will be unable to attend the ceremony on October 18th to celebrate the awarding of the Clyde W. Smith Jr. Leadership Award to Rima Bell, my cousin, friend, and mentor. With the announcement of this year's recipient, Rima Bell comes a flood of reflections regarding Clyde Smith's legacy for the community of Tullahoma and Rima Bell's life calling as an educator. I had the privilege to know Clyde Smith Jr. from the time I was very young. For years, I watched as he supported our neighborhood, community, and school through so many of his efforts, both in athletics and more so with his involvement and support of Tullahoma City Schools. As a former student, graduate of, and educator in Tullahoma City Schools, I know the level of esteem this award brings to the recipients. Rima Bell has always been a devoted educator. She has influenced the lives of hundreds of students and their families. She has taught with a zeal that leads students to a love for learning, and she has carried a torch of excellence, commitment, professionalism, compassion, and hope, of which all educators should aspire. For Rima, teaching has never been a job, rather it has been her life calling. I recall the numerous ways she enhanced her students' learning, from opening the magical door to reading to building a foundation of numerical literacy. She taught with a smile on her face, encouragement in her words, procedures that built confidence and a sense of safety and a contagious love for learning. I remember her playing the piano and being a part of the Bel Air Elementary family through her contributions to choral presentations and holiday celebrations. This time of year reminds me of Halloween evenings, where she celebrated the visit of many of her students. Finally, I have known her to send special letters to her graduates and have watched her try to hug each one of her former students on the football field after their commencement from Tullahoma High School. And if you've ever been down there, you know how hard it is to find anybody. You know, you can't find anybody on that field. But she celebrates the completion of their education, for which she so committedly built the foundation for their learning. It goes without saying that you have selected one of Tullahoma's finest lifelong educators for this most prestigious award. I believe you have honored Mr. Smith's legacy in a beautiful and fitting way with the selection of Rima Bell. As you celebrate and award Rima Bell with this honor, I hope you will accept my celebration and adoration for you as a school system as well. I am grateful for the education I received, the opportunity to seize hold of my life's calling as a teacher there, and for the foundation my own children received prior to our relocation to Auburn, Alabama, many years ago. With celebration and gratitude, Carrie Steele Williams.
We know that so many of you have wonderful things that you want to say to Mrs. Bell, but we're going to give you that opportunity. We're going to let you leave in a few minutes, not yet. We're going to hear from Rima to visit with her out in the lobby if you'd like to. But right now, we're going to hear from our lady of the hour, Mrs. Bell. Yes.
Let me interject, please, just a quick second. There's two people we need to recognize too. The Clyde Smith Fellow Award.
Let's go do that.
idea was created by Waylon Long and Vicki Shelton. Waylon wasn't able to be here, but I think we need to recognize Vicki Shelton that's in the back. Clyde's soulmate wife and widow was in the back. Lori, will you stand up, please?
Yes. Thank you. I was going to do that. That was on my list. That's all right. But I'm glad you went ahead. Okay, Rima, if you want, it's your turn. Yes.
If I can get through this. There was a first grade book that we always read on the first day of school. It was called Lily's Purple Plastic Purse. And throughout the book, when she was so amazed at being in first grade, she would say, "Wow." That's all she could say. Wow. So tonight I'm saying, wow, from the bottom of my heart. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Stevens and this amazing board for considering me and voting on me and giving me this incredible award. It is truly heartfelt and an honor. This award is so special to me because Clyde Smith was a personal friend, Lori, personal friend, and I'm so grateful that you're here tonight, Lori. Clyde was just a wonderful example of a person in Tullahoma who believed in our school system. From the support of young children through middle school, through high school and beyond. Just that incredible legacy is amazing to me. Clyde and I definitely had a dedication to Bel Air Elementary, because once a bee, always a bee. To have my name placed among so many, 22 people, wow, that have impacted so thoroughly and so amazingly our school system is just an honor that I will always, always remember. It's my opinion that elementary educators are the rock and the foundation for what happens in a school system. And I know from the bottom of my heart that these teachers that I'm looking at have given their heart and their soul to the educating of our young students. From kindergarten to first grade and second grade and beyond, those early foundational years are so important. And I hope that my recognition today will just serve as a reminder of how important the early years are. When I look around this room, I am totally overwhelmed because you've taken time to share this special moment with me. I look out and I see my family, that I could not have done all of the years that I did without their love and support. I see my dear friends that I have known all my life, and that tracks back a pretty long time. I look at my co-teachers, my Bel Air family, my principal, my dear, dear friends, my neighbors, students that I've had when they were in first grade and are now grown and being successful themselves. For personal students that I have now, to share this moment with me is just so overwhelming and heartwarming. Each and every one of you hold a very special place in my heart, and I will treasure this night and this moment forever. Thank you again so much for this award. To God be the glory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How wonderful. I'm anxious to read the book. Okay, if you want to exit, that is perfectly fine, and we're going to have her.
But before you
Whoops.
I see many educators, experienced individuals, and adults who could clearly give their heart and soul to being a substitute teacher. So please know there are openings. There are openings. You have had enough rest. Come back.
That's right. Perfect. Thank you all so much, and you may visit with Rima out in the lobby. Yeah. Okay, we'll continue with celebrations. We're in celebration mode tonight. Dr. Stevens.
Yes, we are in celebration mode. You know, we celebrate individuals, their legacy, their gift to us. We celebrate athletics. We celebrate academics and arts. And tonight we're just going to continue in that vein with first an academic celebration of one of our Tullahoma High School students. Established in 1955, the National Merit Scholarship Program identifies and honors academically gifted high school students across the country. Each year, approximately 1.5 million students across our country take the preliminary SAT, the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. Of these students who test, what number was that? It was higher than what number did I say? Yeah, it was higher than 1 million. It was 1.5 million. You got it. I'm so proud that y'all are listening. Of these students taking the test, 50,000. That number just went really got tight, are selected as top scorers. And then somewhere around 16,000, from 1.5 million to 16,000, are identified as National Merit semifinalists. And we've been very privileged over the years here in Tullahoma High School to have such students. And again, second year in a row, we have another to recognize. I would like to welcome senior Jackson Banks forward. He is our newest National Merit semi-finalist. Congratulations. We are really proud of you. Congratulations. Thanks again. So proud, so proud. And for those in the audience or watching, this continues on, and we may see him again at another level. We certainly will believe we will. Next, I want to recognize a middle school team, both young ladies and young men. This is the middle school girls and boys cross country teams. What I'd like you to do, if you're a member of those teams, come on forward and let's stand in this open area. And when I call your name, you're just going to give a little wave. Number one, you're on camera. It's your moment. Number two, we want everybody to know who's who. All right. Very well done. Very well done. The Tullahoma Middle School girls and boys cross country teams have had an outstanding season. Both teams qualified for the state championship. How many teams qualified? Both teams, that's right. It was held in October, actually October 1st in Clarksville. The top 7 boys and the top 7 girls on these teams were eligible to compete at the state level. Tonight, I want to celebrate both of those teams that each finished 6th in the state overall. Wow, that's so impressive. Please help me welcome. Now remember, you hear your name, you're just going to do a little wave. Smile, look at the crowd. Okay. Brinley Duncan, Katie Grace Nichols, Aubrey Smith, Harper McShay, Juliana Eitz, Hannah Aiken, Zoe Roberts, Gage Allen, Alex Miller, Link Bitten, William Nichols, Bodie McShay, Peyton Miller, and Reese Stewart. Now, there are 2 of these athletes that I want to step forward. One of them placed 4th overall for boys, and the other placed 5th overall for girls. May I please have Gage Allen step forward, 4th overall for boys. Let's hear it. And Brinley Duncan, 5th overall for girls. Congratulations to all of these extraordinary athletes and their coaches on a great season. Hooray. Excellent, excellent. And while we are on the topic of athletics, on Friday we received some very exciting news. Mr. John Olive has been named as the 2021-2022 TSSAA Football Coach of the Year. So John, come on forward. So many of you will remember that with Teacher of the Year, these competitions are at a regional level, then a state level, and a national level. This is very similar. So you can stay up here. You can stay up here. Wait. Oh, I'm not finished. And I know you love being here, right here. So this is entertainment for me. I might drag this out for a while. The TSSAA will nominate him to the National Federation of State High School Association as the Section 3 Coach of the Year. This section includes 8 southeastern states, which include Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Tennessee. Sectional award winners are submitted to a national committee for consideration for that final national level. So he's going to continue to progress. We are so proud of you for being the TSSAA winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Although you are welcome to stay, we know that some of you are probably getting hungry or have activities or something to do, so you may leave at this time. Okay, leadership, internship presentations, Dr. Stevens.
Yes, I am so excited this evening. Each of you know, and for the public, we started a year ago a leadership internship program. This is an opportunity for educators in the field who are licensed as administrators. They have the degree, they have the license to potentially apply and be considered for a year-long internship. And we are going to hear from our inaugural group of interns this evening. It has been an amazing year. They still have a little bit more to go. They have some excitement ahead as they know they're going to be doing some oral and written interviews, and they understand it's going to be quite challenging in nature, but they are ready. This evening, they're here to each tell you briefly a little bit about the impact, because it's important for you all to understand how powerfully positive this is in the life of an educator, a future leader. And it also complements your commitment as we are providing substitutes for these educators to be able to participate and engage in this learning. This evening, we will first begin with Mrs. Jennifer Ray. She is our elementary instructional coach, and she's going to tell you a bit about this internship this evening. By the way, they also know that they're being evaluated by me, and they're going to get feedback.
Good evening. Tell me, and I'll forget. Show me, and I may remember. Involve me, and I'll understand. The TCS Leadership Internship Program powerfully embodies the truth of this well-known Chinese proverb. Through this job-embedded professional learning program for aspiring leaders, I have had the wonderful opportunity to not just be told or shown how to be a leader, but to experience it firsthand. The Tullahoma Leadership Internship Program is powerful because it grants aspiring leaders the opportunity to put boots on the ground with a mentor by their side, the opportunity to spend a semester with a principal, learning from them, participating in decision-making, being involved in the hiring process, visiting classrooms, learning how to evaluate teachers, communicating with parents, and serving teachers and students is incredibly beneficial and rewarding. Leader interns are actually doing the work. This is not a job shadowing event. Being an intern at Farrah and Bel Air has given me a unique learning experience, which has taught me more than I learned in any graduate class. A few of the opportunities that were especially beneficial and impactful for me were participating in teacher observations alongside Mr. Moore and Dr. Stevens, facilitating the interview and hiring process, and partnering with teachers to come up with a new plan to address behavior concerns. As a leader intern, I gained a better understanding of the many hats worn by principals every day and the importance of always being a confident decision maker. This authentic hands-on experience has uniquely prepared me as it has given me a deeper understanding of the role of principal. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Stevens for her vision for this program. Thank you for seeing the need to invest in aspiring leaders by providing such a unique opportunity. I would also like to say thank you to you, the school board, for choosing to make the financial commitment this process has required, providing the necessary funding for substitutes so that teachers can step away from the classroom and have the opportunity to learn firsthand the role of principal through this job-embedded professional learning. Finally, I would like to say thank you to my mentors, Mr. Travis Moore and Dr. Clint Epley. I'm grateful for the opportunity each one has given me. Thank you for trusting me enough to not just tell me or show me what to do, but to truly involve me by allowing me to take the lead. Thank you for believing in me and for making a tangible difference in who I am as a leader. I would also like to express my gratitude to the many district leaders and assistant principals who spent time with intern group during our after-school meetings, leading sessions on specific topics such as finance, school law, the recruitment and retention processes for our district, licensure, RTI, athletics, life as an assistant principal, and so much more. The testimony of those who are currently serving as principals and assistant principals were incredibly helpful and provided all of us insight that we would not have had otherwise. Every part of this program has served to strengthen and empower me as a leader, and for that, I am truly grateful. Tell me, and I will forget. Show me, I may remember. Involve me, and I will understand. Because of the TCS Leadership Program, aspiring leaders have a deeper understanding of what it really takes to be a leader. Thank you.
Following each of the four of them at the end, I will ask you all if you have any questions or you want to make any comments, and they are prepared to answer questions, and I may even select who answers a question if you pose one. Next, we have Mr. Josh Harris. He is the behavior teacher at West Middle School, and he's going to give you a little bit of his perspective.
Good evening. My name, like Dr. Stevens said, my name is Josh Harris. I'm the behavior mod teacher at West Middle School, but I currently serve both middle schools in our district. This process or this internship for me has been important because it's kind of like student teaching. It has allowed me to gain some experience, and it's given me the exposure I need as an instructional leader. I recently, probably in the last 4 years, felt that urge or that calling to become an instructional leader. And the exposure and stuff that I've got from this program alone has definitely affirmed my calling to be a building administrator. My first stint was with Mary Gilbert at Robert E. Lee, and one of the main things that I took away from Mary is she does a really good job of coaching her teachers to take ownership of their data and to use that data to improve their instructional practices and help their students maintain their success and be successful. My second stint in current placement is with Jason Quick and his Rockstar administrative team at the high school. The high school is a totally different beast, so to speak. The main things I've learned from there is the time management aspect of administration. You're constantly, like, you start the day with a plan, but that's not how the day starts, and it's not how the day ends. You are constantly being pulled in numerous directions, handling teacher issues, student issues, and trying to complete the list and the stuff that you had on your list for that day, and it doesn't seem to ever get done, and it gets pushed off to the next day. But that's one of the main things. And then the second one is just the pace. The pace is absolutely relentless, and it often reminded me of, I'm going to use UT's offense because they're really quick, but it reminds me of when we used to do the 2-minute drill when I was in high school. You don't have time to catch your breath. You're constantly on the move, having to go handle this problem, put out this fire, and then I got to go complete this list or this thing that was on my list to do that day. And I felt myself, oftentimes I was eating lunch on the run, literally like running by, grab a chip, Go take care of this. I'll come back, grab another chip. But it was like that all day. And I just want to thank you because this program, much like student teaching is for teachers, it allows us that behind the scenes look and to get that exposure and that experience that we need to make sure that, one, I felt like I was called to be in leadership, but now I know it has affirmed my calling in order to be a building administrator. But in this internship has affirmed my calling to be an administrator. I just want to thank you for this opportunity to participate in this awesome, amazing program.
And we have Ashley King, wonderful math educator at West Middle School. Ashley, tell us your story.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens, and thank you all for giving us these few minutes to speak to you about the Leadership Internship Program. I completed my instructional leadership graduate degree in May of 2021. After finishing my coursework, I felt very confident that I could help lead a school as an assistant principal. Without that experience, I didn't feel quite as confident about being a principal, a building principal, but I did know that if given the opportunity, I would certainly take it. 24 years in a middle school classroom, I thought, sure, building principal, no problem, right? Well, after this program, I realized that I may have given myself just a little too much credit. So the Leadership Internship Program has provided me with experiences that I would have never gained as a classroom teacher nor as a graduate student. There's so many things that go on in a school that teachers never see and that, quite frankly, no coursework could ever prepare anyone for. I've learned from Dr. Tullahoma that oversight and teamwork are paramount when dealing with money. Documentation is crucial in every situation. Voluntary pre-K is a mammoth undertaking, and building maintenance is a never-ending process. I've learned that when done right, teacher and school leader evaluations are about empowerment and growth. I've learned that Dr. Stevens is always a phone call away. And I've learned that there's a board policy for every situation, which really is good for all of us. More than anything, I've learned that every decision that's made must be made with the focus on students first, and the teachers as well being at the forefront. This internship has solidified two of my beliefs. First, I know in my core being that relationships are crucial in being effective in the classroom. But this is also true for an administrator. I've learned that being present every day, being seen in the hallways, the cafeteria, the classrooms, taking the time to learn names, backgrounds, in which Disney princess or dinosaur are a child's favorite, are how I will develop these relationships as an administrator. I'm thankful to Scott Hargrove for teaching me his master class on making connections with students and teachers. Second, I've thought for several years that I wanted to become an administrator, but without actual experience, how would I know for sure? This internship has given me the opportunities I needed to confirm that I am pursuing the right avenue for myself. This internship has been an impactful and invaluable opportunity for me, and I hope that you as a school board will continue to support it, as I believe that it is one of the best opportunities an aspiring leader could have. Thank you.
In rounding out this very talented group of interns, Sandy Clanaris, one of our high school English educators, department chair. Take it away.
Youth before age. There's no way to tell you about this in 2.5 minutes. If you wanted me to tell you about how I got the administrative license in 2.5 minutes, I can do that. Read academic articles. Write a reflection about an academic article. Solve a hypothetical problem. Take the licensure exam. This program as you've heard, is real life. It's real time. And I'd like to share with you an excerpt from my reflection journal. It's one day at Bel Air Elementary last semester. Observed instruction in 2 classrooms with Dr. Epley using the Project Coach evaluation model. Discussed what I observed in the 2 evaluations. Listened to what he observed and how he'll use it as feedback. Explanation and discussion of the benchmark curriculum for ELA, including some exchanging of ideas for dealing with staff pushback when implementing new initiatives. Studied an overview of upcoming TCAP testing windows, district deadlines, and test subpart requirements. Ate lunch with some Bel Air staff and faculty. Developed a schedule for the Bel Air TCAP testing based on information studied earlier in the day. I did this on my own, and Dr. Epley provided feedback. Read the engineering firm's assessment of and report on Bel Air Elementary building components. Dropped in on several classrooms in the 5th grade hallway and the 1st grade hallway. There are no words to effectively describe indoor recess with 1st graders. Joined leadership to de-escalate a violent student's behavior and observed the restraint procedure in the behavior modification classroom. Tied approximately 10 pair of shoes and located 1 lost lunch. Monitored the front entrance during 1 o'clock student dismissal. Imagine the Atlanta airport with cars and kids, but a little more orderly. Phoned a parent who forgot to pick up a child. Observed Dr. Epley talk to a parent who consistently fails to pick up his son after school in a timely manner. Discussed with Dr. Epley my role as acting administrator during the next internship day, as he will be out of the building for a large part of the day. Recapped this day's events through productive dialogue with Dr. Epley. Now, add 29 more days, all just that jam-packed. Throw in 6 evening meetings with Dr. Stevens and a variety of leaders throughout the district, providing information on everything from district finance to the role of the new district athletic director. One evening, as noted, we will practice interview skills, both oral and written. Didn't do that in grad school. How much time do I have left? Because there's so much more. This semester, I'm at West Middle. I'd love to come back and share with you again, but I'm going to need more time on that. Lots of drama. In closing, what I need you to know about what I have gained from this is that when I have that leadership position, I will be ready. I have experience and have a full network of people I can call with questions, for advice, and for support. All of it due to this internship program. I want to thank you, and thank you for letting me share with you this evening.
So you all know I have a deep commitment to building capacity of people, educators, leaders, future, current, etc. These are 4 individuals who have really grown. What questions, wonderings, or comments do you wish to make to this group of interns? Anything?
I have a comment and a question. First of all, wonderful. You did a great job. I jotted down some notes. I think it seemed like it was very eye-opening to all of you to move into other positions or other schools and see how other places operate. That was wonderful. And I really, really so appreciate Dr. Stevens doing this, because I feel like I spoke to you about this early on, but it's definitely something I wanted. I asked for it for years before she came. I thought it was very needed here. I knew we had people that were very interested in being in such a program, and it's been outstanding. So thank you so much, and thank you to all the people that participated and helped in that, because it sounds like you all heard from a lot of people, which is really, really good. So my question for you all is, what was the biggest surprise? What was your biggest surprise for each of you?
Sandy, why don't you start out and let's go in reverse order.
Okay. It was all, like I said, The first day that I got to Bel Air, and obviously that was where my first assignment was, and I spent more time there. Dr. Epler gave me a notebook, and I had zero experience with elementary because it's been a minute since I've been in elementary school. And so, the centers and the schedule was just how they did it all in a day, and kept everything moving. I'm not kidding. That pickup thing, I can't really, there are no words really to describe the car pickup thing. And they have it so organized and they move with it. So yeah, everything, really. And I know that's kind of a cop-out of an answer, but everything about elementary, because it was such foreign land to me. It's like Josh said, Josh thinks the high school's a beast, and I think that elementary school is the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Just right there.
The biggest surprise for me was how much I enjoyed elementary school. My first classroom experience was in a middle school, and I've been there, this is my 25th year now. I love middle schoolers, absolutely love middle schoolers. And so I was excited for the experience of elementary school, but I did not realize how much I would enjoy it and love going there every day to work alongside Mr. Hargrove and his staff. And I just really enjoyed the little ones and did not think that I would. So that was a big surprise for me.
The biggest surprise for me, I guess, my first stint at the high school and my second stint when I started to get that leadership feeling, urge. I must have had my teacher narrow vision on my first stint and even my second stint, because I did not realize just how massive and different are the various moving parts that the high school has going on. It's like I was just one of, and they got three people. You got Renee Flowers or Dr. Flowers, you got Derek Crutchfield, and you got Jess Kinsey. And I got to spend a lot of time with Jesse today because we're doing ACT at the high school. CTE is a puzzle. There's a lot going on there, and I'm just like, and like the pace and stuff, that was kind of, it wasn't surprising, I should say, but it took a while to get acclimated to it.
Okay, for me, it's a little bit different than their experience because I've spent the majority of my career in elementary school, and that's where I've done both my internships. I stepped away from elementary school for a few years to East Middle, but most of my time has been in elementary. So where there wasn't a lot of just alarming new things to me, one of the things that did really, I guess, surprise me is the depth of how many variables there are to a situation that really the average person doesn't really ever see. And so when a principal makes a decision, there's so much they can't disclose about why that decision was made. And so it really is so important for your staff to trust you that when you're making that decision, you're making it for what's best for students and for them, even though you can't disclose all of the variables to that.
Great, thank you.
And I'd like to put a couple of principals on the spot since there are several here. At least three of you, if you would, speak to the internship. Dr. Epley, I see you.
As someone who did not have a lot of internship or prior to Boulevard, I think it's a wonderful program. And I think it gives opportunities to teachers to have experience outside of their building, even if it's at the same level, elementary, middle, or each building's different. So having somebody that you can talk to through these challenging situations and then bounce ideas off of, in a safe place, in a room where all the information stays there, is really invaluable. And then any of these folks in this room can call me or Dr. Tullahoma or Mr. Moore or any of the principals, Ms. Gilbert, at any time. And we do have a network as well. So just truly helpful, no matter if they end up in Tullahoma or elsewhere. So it's great.
Who's next? Pop up. I see you. Miss Gilbert, I see you wanting to pop.
I could just say ditto. I thought it was wonderful, but I come from a different background where I didn't have that experience, received it in another district. And so when, I heard about this opportunity for people here, I was like, yes, this is wonderful. And so I was so thankful for first the school board and Dr. Stephen saw that we had the need, the interest that was there, but also I loved having a different perspective, fresh eyes. We had some great conversations and just kind of going back on, well, why do we do what we do? Josh asked some great questions, were very reflective, but it made me think, well, okay, let me think about this a minute. Why are we doing some of these things? And to explain it, and is there a way to make it better? Is there a way to strengthen it? So I loved having the fresh eyes, and just like you said, I think the beauty of that is us working together. We were on a call, probably you all remember this. Sandy, you were in that call, and you guys were in there, and I thought, why don't we just pull them in this conversation? And they just shared some great perspectives. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot if I did that day, but I just think that that was a great opportunity in the moment, because you can't plan for everything. Things happen, and you do have to come in with different perspectives and different eyes. And so it's great when we can all pull together. So I just commend everyone for this opportunity.
And one more. I see you, Mr. Quick.
Ditto. What I want to do is I want to thank the board, because we invest in our students. And we talk about what's best interest of the students, and that's investing in the next wave of talent that Tullahoma High School has. And I think these are 4 great examples of the next generation of leaders. One of the things I'm looking for in, yes, next generation. One of the things I'm looking for when I make hiring decisions is trying to find that next wave of generational leaders within the school, as teachers and as building leaders. The fact that the board has put an investment into this program, into these people, tells a lot about what we're doing as a school board or as a school system. And I can't thank you enough for that. With Josh, he's right. There were times like, today we're going to focus on this, Josh. Well, that goes out the window, about 16 after 12. But my experience with Josh, and I think I can speak for all of the admins, it was great to have another set of eyes to help us say, again, as Mary said, why do we do it this way? And then he also brought some experience and expertise from what he has experienced at the middle school level. He had a couple of examples where I would see him working with students at the high school level that knew him from middle school. And he was able to solve several problems that I wasn't aware of, as far as maybe the background and history of the student and why certain behaviors were occurring. So that definitely helped us as well. But I just want to say thank you for investing in the future of our students through this program and bringing this leadership forward.
Thank you for that. And you can tell this is mutually beneficial. So yes, indeed, they're licensed. They have the degree. They could be in the role. These sitting principals recognize their expertise and ideas and value it. So it's a mutually beneficial situation. So really all are growing as they're open to the ideas of others. It's really a powerful process. Any other comments?
I have one. One thing that I've heard all of you all say is how much, especially those of you who went to different, maybe you're elementary, you went to high school, middle school. You all saw, because I think as teachers, we get the, in that standpoint of, well, if first grade would have taught them this, then we wouldn't be so far behind second grade. If elementary would have taught them this, then middle school would, sometimes it's easy to get in that, that train of thought as educators, because you're just trying, you blame someone else, it's not fair. And I think having you all have that experience to see, whoa, look at, like Ms. Flannery said, holy moly, look at how much elementary school teachers are having to teach in a day and get all of those wranglings plus tying shoes and everything else. Those things that sometimes get, go unnoticed for maybe high school teachers that don't experience that. I know in our family, when we have conversations, we're at completely ends of the spectrum, so I think that is really good. And as future leaders, you all will be able to portray that information, because part of, I think one of you said, part of being a good leader is that relationship. And that's, to me, is the most important thing. You have to have your staff be able to trust you and believe in you and have faith in you. But whatever decision you're making it not because of Johnny telling you to, but because it's truly for the best. And I think you all seeing that firsthand is something that's going to make our system continue to grow. because your experience you're going to be able to share with your colleagues at your current schools, and then they can share with their colleagues, and it'll be a ripple effect that I think will be very beneficial for Tullahoma.
I've got a comment, not a question. You thanked me before we even started tonight for me supporting you, and this is another example how easy that is. You sold it, you brought it to us, we accepted it with, judgment to come, and this has certainly it's proven to be a tremendous idea, and I hope that Dr. Epley has done extremely well in his job, but I hope we never have to have somebody come back and say, I never had any experience. I've had to learn by the seat of my pants. And this is a great step to eliminate that problem.
Can I say, I gotta say this, because I gotta back up on something I said. I've seen these programs in other school systems that I've been in. And honestly, it was a lot of lip service. Hey, we're gonna do this. I've seen what Josh has had to go through. I'm like, holy smokes, he's done more in this program than I might have done in my entire graduate course or my graduate program. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Stevens, because this was not lip service. This was not just writing a journal. These folks worked their tails off outside of this program at night and over weekends, and were committed to it. And I just want to say thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier, but the structure and the depth and the rigor of this program has truly prepared them better than any other leadership program that I've seen in any other school system.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
The written backup that she sent to each board member, there wasn't any question. It was not going to be lip service.
Yeah. Well, and the four participants here, I mean, thank you all for, volunteering and wanting to do this and putting forth the effort. I mean, that's incredible. I do kind of have a question for y'all, if and any one of you or all of you can answer it. Just, what advice would you give? Having gone through the program, I know there was a lot of learning, a lot of that went on. But what advice would you give to someone else who may be thinking about pursuing this, and kind of any words of wisdom you may have for them?
Do it.
Go into it with an open mind. I didn't go into it with any certain expectation. I just went into it, and I guess the way to go.
Very good.
I think also I would tell someone to, it is a lot. It's a lot. And if you are in the classroom as a teacher, it is difficult because we're out of the classroom, but it is so worth it.
That's good.
I work in and out, thanks to everybody. I know everybody feels the same way. We can all turn around and say this, thank you, you quit. It's my boss on a day-to-day basis. And let's use today as an example. Today was ACT testing, and we had Miss Ferrera's out, she's broken her leg. We had like this going on, and we had a good discussion. We talked about where I was needed most, and I felt the support. I know y'all would agree that our principals that we work for, there's two different kinds of support, because you're losing your classroom teacher for 12 days a semester, and that's instruction time. So thanks to them also for supporting us while we do this.
And the great thing is, these are individuals that I can lean on, as I had a conversation with a couple of them beforehand related to a school, and I know I can use either one of them in that setting. They are licensed, they are an administrator, they also know the schools, the processes, and so forth. And so it allows opportunity for them to be extremely purposeful in their work.
I didn't have a question, but I just had a comment very similar to the others, that I appreciate the four of you taking on extra. Your work day is very full without doing this. And as Dr. Stevens said, you already had the credentials, so you didn't have to do this. And I really appreciate you being willing to take on, because we all know that you didn't just walk out of your classroom and not worry about what was going on in your classroom while you were participating, in those other days. So I appreciate you being willing to do that.
It takes a lot to apply. There are criteria. They have to be an administrator. They have to have been committed to this system for completely 3 full years, minimally. The principals, their principals have to agree. They sign a document to allow them to pursue. So there's a lot to this. Last year we had 7 apply, and we will never have more than 4. We may not always have 4, because remember, we have 7, 8 schools, and we are looking at figuring out how to make the Tullahoma Virtual Academy a part of this process, because our principals are taking on responsibility as they think about preparing for, especially in those early days, that intern that they don't know very well until they can release, as Dr. Epley did. Hey, I'm going to be gone most of the day. You've got the walkie. It's your school today, right? So this year we have 9 who have met the criteria, and they will be receiving their applications at the end of October. And we will have a committee, just like we did last year, to evaluate all the applications. So it is not something to volunteer for, it's something to apply for, and it's something that not everyone is going to be selected. And that's a tough decision to make, but we want to keep it at this level, to keep it at a real high quality.
Very good. Excellent. Let's give them another round of applause. Great job. Great job. Thank you all so much. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful.
Score them high.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
Motion by Gigi Robinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pat Welsh. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Mrs. Vaughn?
That's all in favor, Chair.
Thank you so much. Unfinished business, building and grounds report. Mr. Welsh.
I'll try to finish this quick. Again, we've got plenty to report on. Our committee met October the 10th, and first at the high school. The committee was informed that our invitation to bid on the lobby cases received no bids. We're talking about trophy cases for the gym entrance and also the main entrance to the auditorium area. So we've decided to table this project at this time. The committee was updated on replacing the rubberized stair treads that I believe we've found out were the original treads to the school. And like a lot of other items, it doesn't take a big piece of technology. Rubberized stair treads are also hard to get. So we were trying to do that the last break, but we're going to try to get them in and do that at Thanksgiving. Discussed the progress of the tennis courts, and if you go back behind the school, you'll see that they're making great progress, and hopefully they're going to be finished at the end of the month. The roofing project is just about completed, and feel like that will be finished by the end of October. The committee was informed that we had 9 bathroom stall doors installed. That was during the break. Bel Air, we talked about the roof project over there also. It's been going as scheduled, and hopefully that will be done by the end of November, finished by the end of November. The soffit fascia over there is not in great shape, and we bid that to Train, and the amount was extremely high, so we're looking to other vendors there, but that will be done. Painting of the hallways began the same day that we met. East Middle softball field, as drainage work has been completed, and the pads that the bleachers are on has had an additional piece of pad behind the bleachers where it's easier to get in and out. Classroom painting has been completed over the fall break, and there was a leak in the soccer field irrigation system that was finally been located and repaired. West Middle parking lot and driveway resealing was done over fall break. If you hadn't been by there, please go by because it really looks nice. And our engineering firm OLG is working on options to add sidewalks to the Hermitage Drive area of the school. We've got great plans for getting cars in and out of there, but not great plans for getting pedestrians and bicyclists in and out. At Farah, OLG is finalizing the construction manager contracts to soon be signed. At Robert E. Lee, we're asking for options and pricing for repairs on the playground asphalt pad that's beginning to deteriorate. And hopefully we'll be back with some suggestions on that in November. We're also looking at options to get a barrier or fence between the playground and the neighbors behind it. Carpet in the music room was replaced over fall break. In the central office, OLG again is working on potential design options to improve accessibility to the central office. Any questions or comments? Thank you.
As always, a big thank you to the maintenance work group. Lots to do always. As one of the leadership internship people said, maintenance. Wow. Yeah, maintenance. Wow. Appointment of attorneys, Dr. Stevens.
Yes, on September 30th, a request for proposal for legal services was posted. The RFP closed on Friday, October 14th at 3:30. Interested attorneys submitted a proposal that included their experience in providing legal services to school boards, their fee structure, whether it's hourly or a retainer or both, and any other pertinent information. We had 3 attorney groups submit proposals for consideration. Spencer Fain from Nashville, Aravet Law from Murfreesboro, and Bennett and DeCamp from Chattanooga. Each of these 3 attorney groups has a wealth of experience directly serving school systems, and we certainly appreciate their interest in providing legal services to Tullahoma City schools. Chairman Usselton and I spent several hours reviewing each proposal, their experience, training, fee structures, as well as their websites that provided additional insightful information. Tonight, we are bringing to you a recommendation that we believe is best for all in Tullahoma City schools, and that is for Bennett and DeCamp to serve as our school board attorney in all areas, including special education, which they currently do. With your approval, we will enter into a monthly retainer of $3,250 per month, which includes all legal fees and expenses, including travel and routine litigation that a school system might incur. If approved, the previous hourly rate we had in place for special education legal services would no longer continue, as it would be umbrellaed into the retainer fee. The only item not included or would be outside of the monthly retainer would be special education due process, which would be charged at the customary rate of $225 per hour. This, by the way, is a routine exclusion from a retainer with legal services to a school board. Administration recommends the approval of Bennett and DeCamp to serve as our sole school board attorney. Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to approve Bennett and DeCamp to serve as the district's sole school board attorney? Motion by Andy Witt. Is there a second? Any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, for the special ed due process, does that also, if you were in mediation, is that considered, is that part of your monthly, or is that something considered with due process? So mediation is part of it.
Into due process. Anything else?
How long has Scott Bennett had that?
He has been practicing for 30 years.
How long has he done our special ed?
For our special ed ballpark, that was maybe 2017 or 8. It might have been before 2017, actually.
Maybe a little bit before.
A little bit before. Mm-hmm. Yep. And we have recommended him annually. He is tremendous in that work. Bennett and DeCamp serve 13 other school boards as their board attorneys, as well as serve other school boards in other aspects of legal work.
Yeah, a lot of experience, and he's familiar with our district as well. Also, it looks like it's both in our budget too, as
Yes.
far as from that standpoint as well.
Correct. Anything else? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Mrs. Vaughn?
That's all in favor, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Excellent. New business. Spring Club Sports. Dr. Stevens.
Yes, all club sports must be approved by the Board of Education prior to beginning their activities, per Board Policy 4.303, which defines club sports as extracurricular athletic activities sponsored by community organizations under the auspices of the Tullahoma City Board of Education. The following club sports are presented for board approval for spring 2023. At both the middle school and high school levels, Tullahoma swimming and Tullahoma basketball team. And administration recommends accepting these two spring club sports as presented for both middle and high school.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept the Spring Club Sports as presented?
So
Motion by Amy Dotson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pat Welsh. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Mrs. Vaughn.
That's all in favor, Chairman.
Thank you so much. Athletics update.
Yes, we are very fortunate to have a full-time athletic director who I'm going to invite to the podium, John Olive, whom we just celebrated. Shall we
Right.
celebrate him again?
Why not? Yes, yes.
So, he loves attention.
That's right. We're
This
gonna
is actually
celebrate.
what he really enjoys, and that is the celebration of others. And so he's going to be sharing with you an update on athletics.
Our fall athletics are beginning to wind down. Middle school, you just celebrated our cross-country team with Brindley Duncan and Gage Allen, both being medalists at the state cross-country, both teams finishing sixth in the state. You don't really have any district or region competition at that level right now. You just have to be able to qualify time-wise to make it to the state meet. But it was our first time to go to the state meet, thanks to you all making them a TMSAA sport. The sport of football finished second in the, let me back up. Coach Angel Dotson Allen is your cross-country coach on the middle school level. And in football finished second in the CTC, played in the championship game where they also got beat there. And they're coached by Coach Mike Frederick. And I'm just telling you who the coaches are so that you can put a name and a face together. Football cheer concluded, and that is coached by Laura Lee Crownover. So their part has come to an end. A lot of those girls will proceed into basketball, though, as a lot of them do both sports. Girls soccer, an undefeated regular season, CTC champions. They finished runner-up in the championship game. The coach is Matt Nichols. Volleyball, finished runner-up in the CTC, finished runner-up in the tournament, and they're coached by Jamie Stinson Barnes, as she just recently got married. At the high school, a couple of things going on. We instituted a program again called A Better Way Athletics. They were shocked at how many people we got signed up. I talk with a mentor, Heath Esslinger, once a week. And we are making progress as coaches more than we are with the parents, but we're trying to come up with some concepts to try to get our parents to become using the program a little better than what we get. What I told Dr. Stevens earlier was they tend to go to where they're having an issue. And they will, and the program is set up in little blocks, 4 or 5 minute sessions of just trying to help educate you a little bit. But it's helped us out. I have had the fewest number of parent-coach meetings during my 6 years. Golf, boys and girls golf, showed improvement throughout the season, and they qualified for the region tournament, which meant they finished in the top 2 in the district. They are coached by Barry Bishop. Girls soccer, finished with only 3 losses on the season, 2 of them to the same team. Both of those 2 will probably qualify to make the state tournament. One of them is the defending state champions. But our girls played really well, showed great improvement, and made it all the way to the district semifinals before they were beaten again. So they only had 3 losses on the whole year, both, and it was to Page and to Central Magnet out of Murfreesboro, which both were state tournament teams last year. They're both favored. They'll play in tonight to try to get back to the state tournament. Volleyball also finished 3rd in the regular season and made it to the district semifinals. They won 21 games this year, and they're coached by Dan Lynch. And I'll back up. Girls soccer is coached by Richie Chadwick. Sorry about that. 2 fall sports that are ongoing, cross country and football. Football has battled well with a young, inexperienced team. We have a total of 106 athletes in the program, and only 9 of them are seniors. So the future, we will be better, and the coach is Coy Sis. Cross country, coached by Jeff Lester, is trying to qualify for the state meet this week. They have had numerous PRs set throughout the season, and he feels like that we have several individuals that will qualify for the state meet. Bowling is just now beginning to get rolling along, and they have started with winning ways just like they normally do. They're coached by Lamont Snipes, and at the next school board meeting, they'll be a little bit further along in their season. I can give you a little bit more to update on them. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
2 comments, really, or 1 question. I know this time last year we were just trying to figure out how in the world do we go to club sports at middle school level into this. How did you feel that transition went? Because as a parent, it felt like it went really smooth.
I think it's gone well. Our 2 athletic coordinators, Caitlin Wilson at East and Cody McMurtry at West, have done a great job at trying to keep things operating. Our principals have done a great job because there was one Tuesday night, we had 4 different events going on between middle school and high school. And in fact, we had to play a doubleheader one night with middle school soccer and the high school soccer. And the coaches worked together well, bumping the middle school game up an hour, pushing the high school game back an hour, just so that we could share the facilities and get it in. So I think it's gone really well. Are we learning? Yes. There are things that, for instance, before we transferred funds from the middle school over to an athletic account, TSSAA wanted their monies. So the middle schools needed to write a check. Principals had to sign a bunch of documents, and then we had to turn around and reimburse each other. And so there's things like that that we're just now trying to figure out how to skin the cat on a couple of those things.
And my comment is, I'm not sure if it's the high school or if it's you with the athletic department, but I have noticed this year on social media, one thing that I have loved is, here are all the events going on this week.
Yes.
And I can look at one page and screenshot one page, and I'm like, oh, well, Monday night there's this, and this. Tuesday night there's this, and so that to me, as a parent of an athlete and also as someone who enjoys going to watch other children play sports and band things, activities, that's been very helpful. So I don't know who was
Credit goes to Jesse Kinsey.
Okay.
It may have been Jason Quick's idea, but Jesse's the one that does it, and that's where credit is due. And I provide information from the athletic standpoint, but she puts all of it together.
There's second credit. It's Zach Birdsong, communication specialist. He's putting together
Oh, yes. I would not want to leave Zach out of that either.
Because it doesn't matter if I just happen to get on Instagram or happen to get on Twitter or happen to get on Facebook. I've seen it all over the places, so I always catch it. And I kept thinking, has that always been around, or if I just missed it?
No, Zach and Jesse have made it available.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank
you all.
Thank you very much.
Can I make one quick?
Sure.
There's a John Olive story that a reporter had called him, and he doesn't know why he called him. I think I do, because he's been such a success. But it is really in-depth and really neat article. The newspaper is redoing it one section at a time out of 4 sections. but you can get it online or on Facebook.
Has some great pictures of John Olive as a high school student and college student.
Yeah.
It's going to be like part one.
Yeah, there's going to be 3 more, and it'll make you proud that he's our athletic director. I'll say that.
Of course, great.
And they did give you some credit for going and getting him.
That was probably overdone. Yeah. But I do remember the interview.
I know.
And somehow, I'm going to work on you just a quick minute, John. I went with Dr. Embry, and when Dr. Embry drove back, Coach Olive was at Maryville at the time, and he said, "What's your impression?" I said, "Well, you probably got somebody you need to make an offer to right now, but I'll say this, he's a heck of a salesman." He said, "Why'd you say that?" I said, "Because he convinced you that Athens, where we interviewed him, was halfway between Maryville and Tullahoma, and it's about 4/5 to Maryville."
Very good. Thank you so much.
District report, superintendent's report. Dr. Stevens.
Yes, and I'm going to let you know that Mr. Quick is going to add all of you to a daily email that goes out called THS Today. Some of you may already see that or receive that, but that gives a lot of updates and information.
I get it every day. It's very good.
Yes.
Well, I get it 5 days a week.
Yes, 5 days a week. So, and then if you prefer not to receive them, just let him know. But he will be adding all of you to that.
Is that why?
Yes.
Great
idea.
Yes. Yes.
Students don't sometimes relay information, nor do husbands.
All right. Well, it is great to be back in the second quarter of this school year. As you know, this is the fast and furious quarter because there's just so much activity and holidays and things going on. It's a lot of fun. I do want to lift up some thank yous. We had TBI join us at the high school last week. That was a wonderful day of learning. 7 TBI investigators, along with Detective Purdom from the Tullahoma Police Department and Nick Kimbrough from the Tullahoma Fire Department. They were on hand to speak with students, and it was really a field trip. Instead of going out to these locations, the field trip came to them, and it was in the auditorium. And I stayed just for one class period and learned so much. So I'm really thankful for the partners that we have really built with some of our law enforcement agencies, even those outside of Tullahoma. What one small fire at West Middle will do. In this day, the students were so excited. I would ask them as they were walking out, "What are you thinking? What are you thinking?" And some would say, I don't know. A firefighter, law enforcement, investigator. Their minds are just populating and springing with ideas. And that's what this is about. When we think about our strategic plan, school to work, pathways, we've got opportunities for our students that are just lining up beautifully. I also want to take time to recognize another educator. We have so many that are outstanding. We had the Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce, 40 under 40, outstanding young professionals. And we have an honoree at Jack T. Farah Elementary, and that's Julia Sullivan. So if you see her, congratulate her on being recognized this year. She does do an outstanding job teaching, and I know she is loving being over at the pond this school year. And the district was also very excited to share that Robert E. Lee Elementary was named one of America's healthiest schools during the 21-22 school year. Robert E. Lee prioritized healthy policies and practices, and I believe you all know they are one of 2 schools in Tennessee that had this recognition, so it's really impressive. So really proud of Robert E. Lee. Also thankful for some other community partners. Walgreens, they can come and give a good vaccine, and they were here October 12th and 14th at each school site, central office and CSS building. Staff members and their families had the opportunity to receive flu, shingles, Tdap, and pneumonia vaccines. Some people got multiples. I was talking to somebody who had 3. I only got 1 of those. 191 vaccines were given across Tullahoma City schools. 152 flu shots, 24 shingles shots, and if you're over 50, you should get those. 11 Tdap or whooping cough, and 5 pneumonia. I just think this is a wonderful offering. It's convenient. It works with our schedule. It's just terrific. So thanks so much to the Walgreens team. If you're there, stop by and thank them. And before our next meeting, we're all going to be together learning, which I'm really looking forward to the TSBA annual convention with each of you. Madam Chair?
Thank you. Great report. I want to thank our board secretary, Sandy Vaughn, for all that she did to coordinate the wonderful reception for Rima Bell. Everything was wonderful, and we had such a great turnout. And I want to thank Zach for getting the information out about Miss Bell and sharing all that. And I think you even shared some flowers today on the website. All of that was great. So thank you all very much. And I, too, am looking really forward to TSBA convention. Yes. And City Board Liaison Report, Alderman Berry.
I don't have anything super exciting from the city to share with you, but it's always a pleasure coming here and seeing you guys and watching the presentations and the awards. It's encouraging. I love what you're doing. On kind of a personal note, it's not official school related, but my Bel Air Bees on K through 1 were first place in the Frank Mullins flag football league. Second and third, we're going to make the playoffs. We're in the first round of playoffs, so that's a good thing. Those start Saturday. And I'm looking forward to the Bel Air as their walkathon Friday. And I will try to find a big enough t-shirt for me. But I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for what you guys do. Oh, TullahomaParks.com. That is something I do want to share. There are a bunch of activities that we've got a new coordinator, too, Aaron White and Jeff Dammer on the athletic side. They are really working hard to put together programs for youth and adults, but especially our youth. We've got a Wildcats and Friends baseball clinic coming up that's free. And I think there's 8 former professional baseball players going to be there. Doesn't cost anything. There's after-school programs going on now. So I encourage you to take a look at that and share it out with parents and friends or city, school site or social media. But take advantage of those things. We've got a great crew at Parks and Rec. They're really working hard to give kids something to do outside of the school. Other programs have been stay in trouble.
Great. Thank you. Excellent report. Thank you so much. Personnel, Dr. Stevens.
Well, first of all, it just continues to be a beautiful evening. We're just buzzing with excitement everywhere, aren't we? Your personnel update was provided to you in an attachment.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Monthly financial report, Mr. Ray.
Thank you. You have in your packet the monthly financials through the end of September. The only thing that I'd like to point out is that sales tax revenue has been very strong in exceeding our budgeted amounts so far. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Always. That's always good news about sales tax. And I didn't even mention that it's not supposed to be the first day of winter, but it does feel like the first day of winter. Is there anything else to come before the board? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Gigi Robinson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pat Welsh. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.